All right, there we go. We are back. Facebook, I got you up and running now. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. My sincere apologies. It's okay. We're going to work through it. I see that I am live. Yes, yes, yes. Everything's working great. Great, great, great. I should be able to see your comments. If not, as always, guys, I'm going to go back and check my comments so that I can make sure that I miss no one. I don't like missing people. I do not like missing people. So I like to see the comments as they come in. So, okay, so today we're going to be talking about hey, Summer. Hey, I got IG up. I was having some little issues there with, trying to do my streaming stuff, and it was just wasn't working out. But today, y'all, today we're going to be talking about, I'm going to address a question that I got. Can you get PTSD from a relationship? Now, I guess we know by now that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I thought no better thing for me to do than to take this month and talk about what mental health actually looks like in a relationship. And how do you know when there's some signs that your mental illness or your mental health is at stake, which I do that anyway. Like, it's no different from what I do. I always am saying, like, this is what you need to look out for. These are the red flags. This is how you know you need to go see a therapist. And this is what it looks like when you know, okay, maybe this relationship ain't working out. Like, I'm doing that anyway. So I wanted to really dive in this week, or this month actually, and actually talk about some disorders, some real life disorders, like what depression looks like and what anxiety looks like in a relationship, and how do you know that it's beginning to impact your relationship. So we talked a little bit about that the other day. And how do you know, like, if you've been cheated on? Like, how do you know that you've recovered? How do you know that you heal? Or what does anxiety look like? We talked about some of those. So you want to go back last week and look at some of those videos. But today we're going to specifically address can you get PTSD from a relationship? So I'm Dr. Tiffany. I'm Dr. Tiffany Ross. I am a trained therapist, master's level therapist, and I am also a relationship expert. And I specifically work with women who are healing and recovering from traumatic relationships. And so we'll talk a little bit about that today, and exactly what that looks like when in regards to PTSD, and how do you know that you've experienced some type of trauma or some type of traumatic experience. Thank you so much, Summer. Some type of traumatic experience inside of a relationship. So let's get started. Y'all know, if you enter one of my lives at any point in time, if you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're here, also hit the share button so that people are aware that we're on. I know we're on at a different time. I have a meeting actually at 11:30, so I wanted to make sure that I honor my word, and I didn't want to come on later. I wanted to still come around that lunchtime, because I know some people take their lunches a little bit earlier. I'm Central Standard time zone, so there's some in Eastern time zone and Pacific time zone that are available. So I said, hey, let me come on at 11 instead of waiting until after my meeting, because I don't really know when that meeting is going to be over. So can you get a relationship from PTSD? Well, let's start here. According to the National Center for PTSD, and these are stats, like, y'all, I'm research is at my core. So when we're meeting, I'm not just going to be telling you what I think. I'm going to be looking at some stuff and researching and doing some stuff. So you're going to hear me say according to or whatever, because I like to give you factual information. So according to the National Center for PTSD, about 7 or 8 of every 100 people will experience PTSD in a lifetime. About 7 or 8 of every 100 persons will experience PTSD in their lifetime. But here's the thing that got me, which makes this conversation a lot more interesting, actually, that women are more likely, did y'all know that? Women are more likely to experience PTSD than men. Now that part, that part got me right there, because I'm like, wait a minute. So why do women experience PTSD more than men? Like, why is that so? Why do women experience PTSD more than men? Like, what are the factors that's driving that? So, oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why my notifications are going off. Like, I'm on live. Don't go off. Why they going off? Like, I'm live. So why is it that women experience PTSD more than men? Like, why is that? So here's some more facts about PTSD. So some people develop PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, if you didn't know what that was, after experiencing some type of shocking experience, some type of scary experience, some type of trauma, or some type of dangerous event. But we all do. Like, that's nothing like, that doesn't surprise me. Like, okay, everybody at some point in time is going to experience something that's shocking, something that's scary, something that's, could be traumatic or dangerous. Like, we're all going to experience that. But what makes it PTSD? Here's what makes it PTSD: how long it lasts, when it occurs, and what you're doing as a result of it happening. So it's natural, like I said, to experience some type of reaction when you go through something. You go through something, you're going to experience some type of reaction. All of that's going to be dependent on who you are, how you respond to stress, how do you respond to, your body responds. Like, our body tends to respond in a fight, flight, or freeze way. So how do you respond to stress? How do you respond when you go through these things, and whether or not it's causing you to readjust your life as a result of it. So some symptoms of PTSD is you re-experience this. You have to have at least one symptom where you're re-experiencing something that happened to you. So the event happened, and all of a sudden now you find yourself kind of in a cycle of re-experiencing. Something happens, you smell something, or something reminds you of that event or something that happened to you. It could happen years ago, but however, you're experiencing some kind of trigger. There's some kind of trigger that's making you go into a re-experiencing mode. Like, you're re-experiencing something that actually happened to you. Like, I've had clients who say, they have these reoccurring dreams of things that's happening to you. Like, I remember one time I was sitting with a client, and she literally was stuck, and she had been sexually abused or molested when she was a child, and it happened when she and this may be trigger warning for someone, just saying that FYI, but she was in the bed when it happened, and she was a young kid, but she could remember like being pulled out of her bed by her feet. And so she was having those recurring dreams where somebody was pulling her out of the bed by her feet, because she was literally stuck there because she had never really processed through that as a child. Which is why it's so important that even when children go through things, that we are aware of what they're going through and their reactions to those, so that we can get them help early. And with PTSD, with trauma, with things like that, for children, the earlier that they can get help, the better off they will be as adults. But what we see now, a lot of the residual we see now, is children that didn't get help when they were small, and now we're starting to see those behaviors now when in their adult age, and later on, because they didn't get get the help early. So you're experiencing some type of re-experience pattern. Okay, and then here's another one. You're experiencing some type of avoidance. Like, just say you remember when you had an accident, and now all of a sudden, every time you see an accident, it triggers the memory of your accident, and you're literally experiencing what it was like for you when you had that accident. You're literally going through those symptoms and experiencing it in real time, even though it's not you. You just saw it. Like, you might have just saw it on the TV, and all of a sudden, you're back at that moment when something happened to you. And you're going through, like, your heart's racing, and your mind is discombobulated, or you're sweating, and you're literally experiencing all of those symptoms all over again, which leads me to my next symptoms, which is arousal and reactivity. So you're literally going back through what happened to you, and it's just as if it happened yesterday, even though it might have been 5 years ago. And then here's another one. As you experience this is diagnosis stuff, 2 cognition and mood symptoms. So not only are you experiencing the arousal, the stress, the whatever happened to you then, but you now you have this your thinking is different. Your thinking is starting to be rewired, and because that's what trauma does. Like trauma rewires how we think, it rewires how we interact with other people. And then we have these mood symptoms that may develop. So you may experience bouts of depression or bouts of anxiety. Like you may experience that in PTSD. So flashbacks is another symptom for PTSD. Flashbacks, you heart racing, and which we talked about that a little bit earlier, distressing thought and physical signs of stress, even though you're not in that event. So I know you're wondering, like, well, what is this out? What does all this have to do with relationships? Now I have to set the groundwork. I told y'all I don't just throw stuff at you. This is research. It doesn't make sense to me just telling you about PTSD and not telling you what PTSD is, because it will make sense when I get to my next part on whether or not you can get PTSD from a relationship. You absolutely can. And here's how. Do y'all remember when I started talking about trauma and sexual abuse and physical abuse? Well, if you are in a relationship where there's some kind of traumatic experience happen, and I'm not talking about abuse, it doesn't always have to be abuse. Sometimes it could be a miscarriage, or it could be the loss of a loved one, or the loss of your partner. It could range like this. These things range. It all depends on how you handle them. It all depends on how you handle them. But if you are in a relationship where something traumatic, something scary, something what did I say in the beginning? Something traumatic, something scary, something dangerous, something happened to you, and you find that you still are experiencing that thing, like you're still having reoccurring thoughts, reoccurring dreams. You're at the trigger, you smell some cologne that somebody who may have raped you had on, and you're triggered back to that moment. If you find that you're going back to those moments, or you find that you're avoiding certain places, certain people, certain relationships. Because I know people who have been in bad relationships, toxic, unhealthy relationships, and they just avoid relationships altogether because of their experience in one relationship, or they're in a relationship and the thought of, oh, they raised their voice, sends them back to a domestic relationship that they were in years prior, weeks prior, months prior, whatever. Then chances are you may be experiencing some PTSD symptoms. So what do you do with that? Now that we're aware of what PTSD is, we're aware that yes, a relationship or a person inside the relationship, because the relationship is just, it's a combination of people or persons inside of the relationship. You're aware that yes, you can get PTSD symptoms, or develop some sort of PTSD symptoms from a relationship, depending on what your experiences were. Now that we know this, here's what we can do about it. Now we know what to do. Y'all, I don't know if you know someone who has experienced PTSD or who has been diagnosed with PTSD, but I do. And it is miserable for them. Just the thought of seeing them um, live in fear, because that's really what it is. Like you're literally living in fear of, oh, wait, this could happen to me again. Or that thought, that trigger, like something could literally trigger them back into that moment, and then they're reacting that flight, fight, or freeze, like they're fighting you because of something that's triggered them back to a moment. Or they're literally numb and they can't move when something happens to them, and you're trying to figure out, well, what's going on. All of these could be signs of PTSD symptoms. So if you're with someone who has PTSD, you need to be aware of, because you need to know, hey, maybe, we need to go see somebody, or maybe you need to, go to your doctor, because doctors are going to refer you to a mental health professional for diagnosis. Maybe you should go see someone, so we can figure out how to work through this, or how can I support you through this if you are with a partner who is experiencing PTSD, or if, I'm not going to say that. I'm just not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. Because if you are with a partner who there's some traumatic things or some experiences, I'm trying to be careful with my words. There's some things that had happened in that relationship that you know has damaged, has caused some kind of damage or distress to you, and you're still there. If it's abuse, I'm going to say get out. Get out, get to common ground, get to somewhere safe where they don't know where you're going, where they don't know where you're going. Get your children to somewhere safe. Because I know women who are in domestic violent relationships, and they stay, and and then it escalates. And we're seeing that all over the world now. Like we're seeing men and even women who experiencing certain things, or have domestic relationships, and they kill off the whole family. Like they shoot their spouse or their girlfriend, and then the children, and then we looking at whole lines and generations of people whose lives are lost that could have been saved. They could have been saved. They could have been saved. And so we can't necessarily ignore this. And I know that we sometimes overlook certain things we know that we should not overlook. Don't overlook that. Get you somewhere safe. And if there's been some type of sexual abuse, or you've experienced some kind of trauma, and I know women who've had recurring miscarriages, these things impact you. They impact you deeply. And if you find that you have some stuff that's going on, and you don't know where it's coming from, and now you just don't want to try it out, which that's a normal reaction. But if you walk in and you see your someone announcing that they're pregnant, and it triggers you back to the moment to where you lost your precious baby, then chances are there's something that's still going on that need to be dealt with. So long story short, yes, you can get PTSD from a relationship. I hope that I've done a very good job in helping you understand what those symptoms look like, and what it looks like inside of a relationship, and how a relationship or a partner inside of the relationship can trigger certain things, and what do you do when you're triggered. We hadn't really talked about what do you do. That's a whole nother live of what you do when you're triggered. That's a whole nother live. And if you guys would like for me to talk through that a little bit more and teach through that, just let me know. But what do you do? What does it mean? What does it even mean to be triggered? Some people may not even know what that means to be triggered. We throw all kind of words around all over the place. Y'all don't forget to share. We throw all kind of words around all over the place, and we don't know what it means because it's popular, or because it's pop culture and everybody's saying it, and triggered, and narcissism and PTSD. Like, we throw all this stuff around, and we don't really have a foundation of what it actually is. So yeah, we're clearing all that up. Like, we talk about hard topics. That's what we do over here. We tackle hard topics with simple solutions. And simple solutions don't necessarily mean that it's going to be a simple process. It don't mean that it's going to be a simple process. Simple solutions and processes are two different things. It may not be a simple, it's almost time for my meeting. Let me get up off the hill. Let me hurry up. But it may not be a simple process, but sometimes our solutions can be very simple. Very simple. So I love you. You guys have a wonderful day. As always, I'll go back and check the comments. I saw some on IG, so I'll make sure to address those. Thank you so much. Y'all so sweet. Thank you so much, IG. But I'll make sure to go back and check the comments and the replay, because I know a lot of people go back and watch the replay. So if you're watching the replay, feel free to comment. You can comment still. I'll go back and still check your comments. I'll get notifications. I love you guys. Meet us back here tomorrow. We'll be back at our original time at 12 Central Standard Time, 12 noon Central Standard Time, where we tackle hard life topics with simple solutions. I love you so much. Y'all have a wonderful day. Bye.